Okay, so hey guys, I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, human service counselor. And you guys know me to be the author of, and sometimes I forget the title of my own book, 12 Steps to Recovering from a Toxic Relationship. And I put this book together with the idea of trying to help folks who are in or just getting out of a difficult situation, or maybe you've been out and you just need some help. Let me explain to you who I got with me tonight. And I am lucky enough to have cornered her to get her on because she's a very busy woman. Let me just tell you a little bit about, and she'll tell you more about herself. Sister Yolanda Tate and I talked a lot online. We're part of the same business community, but finally got a chance to meet each other last November in Virginia at a business conference. And let me tell you something. The Lord put us together like thieves. We were like hanging out all weekend. And the beautiful thing is, not only did we need to be around each other, we were able to share with each other. And sometimes you just come across a person who just matches your energy and matches what you're trying to do, and you just have a great connection and bond with them. So I was just blown away. So when I got the strength to ask her to write this forward, I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't sure if she was going to say yes. And when she said yes, I was blown away, because if you have not read the foreword to the book, I'll show you the book later on, but I just want, for a second, I want you to meet this young lady. So Yolanda, I want you to, for a couple of minutes, share with people who you are. What do you do? Who do you do it for? And why do you do what you do? Because like I said, I believe if your foreword wasn't at the beginning of my book, I don't know if the book would have been as good as it is. And I really am thankful that you said yes. So, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Keith, for that introduction. And thank you so much for having me. This is my big bro, y'all. Let me tell you. And I know we just talked about it not too long ago, but I really wasn't going to say yes for real, because it was me sitting down and writing some things that I have never shared with too many people before. I mean, my immediate family know, but a lot of other people don't know. And just to say, my name is Yolanda Tate. I'm a 29-year U.S. Army veteran, whole and a champion for all things health, fitness, and holistic wellness. And I empower career-driven, busy professionals and veterans over the age of 40 to invest in their holistic wellness so that they can elevate, transform, and thrive in wellness. And I'm also the owner of Elevate to Wellness. And so that is a company that I started to empower women, but also to help organizations to invest in their leadership and their teams as well. So I provide professional workshops, trainings, assessments. I do DISC assessments, do emotional intelligence assessments, organizational development, all this because everything is rooted and grounded in our wellness and our well-being. And so that's what I do. But yeah, when it came to writing this forward, I was like, do I want to get that vulnerable? Y'all, I just said I spent 29 years in the military. We don't do soft.
Come on now.
Not at all. We don't do soft at all. It's always tough. It's always hard charging. It's always going. And it was like, okay, I got to sit down and put pen to paper and talk about stuff that I don't normally talk about, things that I've been through in life. And so for me, I know how it is to wear that Superwoman cape all the time. I know what it means to wear that mask all the time. And that's why I talk about it, because for years, I was one of those people that wore that facade that like, she got it going on. Ain't nothing wrong with her. You know, she high ranking in the military. She got a nice car, nice crib. She out here wearing nice clothes when she ain't in that military uniform and all that stuff. But let me tell you, when I got home, it was a whole different story. A whole different story. When you talk about somebody that had some serious nervous breakdowns, I'm so sorry. My dog going off in the background.
Okay.
I said,
okay.
yeah. So
that's how they know it's real.
Yeah, let me tell you, they about to go. They fighting. Yeah, I just remember just even thinking about it right now. I remember one night, this may have been like 8 years ago. I came home from work. It was like almost midnight after I had been at work since 5:30 in the morning. Stop. I had got home and I'm just making me something. You know how you have like a prepared meal? I'm putting it in the microwave.
Mm-hmm.
And all I remember is just tears just
Wow.
flowing down my eyes. I'm looking at the microwave. I see my reflection of my face. And I'm just like, why the hell are you crying, Yolanda?
Wow.
And then I stopped and I'm trying to hold the tears back and they just came out. Like a flood just coming out.
Wow.
And at that point, I just fell to my knees and I just bust out crying because I was just so stressed out, overwhelmed, just tired of being so strong and not having the help that I needed and support that I needed.
Come on
And
now.
at the time, I was in my third marriage, which I'm still in my third marriage, but I was in Hawaii at the time. My husband was back here in the DC area. And I don't know, even being married, and we were going through some things. But it was just hard. I was just like, I was about 20 something years in already, not at 29, but I just felt like I was so alone.
Understand.
And it's a lot of women out there that we try to be tough and hard and strong.
True.
And we have to hold it all together because we're the strong ones that everybody depends on in the family. We're the ones everybody depend on at work. Our friends, the couple of friends that we do have depend on us. But then you get to a point when you feel like, who is taking care of me?
Yeah.
Who do I have? If I need help, who do I have?
Who holds you up?
Who holds me up? And you just feel like the world is on your shoulders and you just can't take it no more.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when I cried that day, that was a cry that I needed. Because a lot of times we don't cry. We hold our emotions and everything in.
Very true.
And a lot of people say, well, women, they let their emotions out. All women don't. And I was one of them that didn't. And it takes a lot for me to cry.
Of course. You don't get to where you are in the armed services if you allow yourself. Yeah. Come on, talk about that.
And when that happened, I was just like, I don't know what it was. God told me to sit down, be still, and just let it all out.
Amen.
Let it all out.
Let me ask you this, because the book deals with recovering from a toxic relationship, and you are, like you said, you're happily married for the third time, and I know some people give up after the first, after the second. But getting here, how did you identify the toxicity to be able to find a resilience to get to a third time? Because one of the things that I find as a counselor is that I have to help a person identify what's really wrong, so they're not repeating the same thing, and then we have to put a new plan into place and then be able to maintenance that plan. What was it for you that signaled the toxic level is high? And then how did you actually recover from that? How did you actually get yourself in a position to be happily married now?
So let me say this about being happily married. That doesn't mean that there's no problems. That doesn't mean that there's no struggles. It doesn't mean that we don't argue, we don't agree on things, because we still go through that. But one thing I can say, it's not toxic like my other two relationships were. In my other two marriages, because this is my third marriage, my other two marriages, the first one, that was very abusive. We were young, and there was a lot of physical abuse that was there.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've been punched, slammed, body slammed, called everything but a child of God, all kinds of stuff in that relationship. And we were 19, 20, 21.
Gotcha.
So that one was hard, especially me being a tough girl from Philly, allowing this dude to do this to me. So that had a very big toll on me. But
did you get professional help? Did you get professional help? How did you do with it?
I did eventually.
Okay.
In my second marriage, I did. Not in that
Okay.
first one.
Got you.
In my second one, I did.
Got you.
The first one, though, what I would say is this. In the foreword, I wrote about a really bad situation that happened that was like the deal breaker that like, no, you got to go. And once he left, that's when I got time to really sit down and figure out what was the things that I was going through. One of the big things for me was growing up without a father. So I talk to every man and tell them how important it is for them to be in their children's life.
Yeah.
And not just men for their boys. I'm talking about men for their girls.
Yes.
Because girls need to see
they do
a man that's going to love them.
They do.
And honor them and treat them like a princess and a queen that they're supposed to be. Because when you don't see that, you make wrong choices when it comes to relationships.
Very true. Very true.
And so I realized that because of me, not that my father wasn't in my life, I don't even know my father. Never seen him, nothing. I just have a name. I have searched, but I don't know if he's alive or if he's passed away. All I do know is this, that whatever him and my mom went through, whether it was a one night stand, whether it was whatever it was, I have nothing against neither one of them because they were young. I don't know what they went through. I don't hold anything, and that's one thing that we have to do is get past that. We have to heal from all of that.
That's true.
In order to move forward.
So true. I talk about that. That is a great point. Continue on. That is fantastic right there. Yes.
So I had to get through that first to not be mad at my mom for not letting me know who my dad is. Not being mad at him for not staying around because I don't know what their mindset or what they were going through. So I forgive them and not hold that against me. And then the other thing I had to tell myself is that even though I went through that physical abuse, I did not deserve that I am more worthy and of love, of being loved, of giving love. And that's not what love is supposed to be like.
Love is not supposed to hurt.
It's not supposed to hurt. It doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges, but it's not supposed to hurt at all. Amen. And so I had to work through that. So when I got my second marriage, I was still hurt. I was still going through that trauma. And with my second husband, he was a really good person. Like I said in the foreword, very good person. He had demons that he was dealing with alcohol and drinking and doing all kinds of things because he didn't feel worthy for whatever traumas he was dealing with from when he was a child.
So two hurt people getting together, trying to heal each other, but it didn't happen.
But
which I talk about often. Two hurt people can't heal each other until they actually both accept where they are and get help for it. So that's right on point with what I talk about. But please continue. I want to hear that because folks need to hear, because they choose people thinking I can find the absolution or the healing in this person. But if they got demons and you got demons, we got to have some type of seance or something. This ain't going to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
But go ahead. So he had demons as well. Go right ahead.
We both was broken. We both cutting each other up along the way.
Wow.
So and that was the problem that was going on. And the thing is with him is that he really did truly love me. And he really wanted to keep our relationship together.
Wow.
But I just was not. I was in the prime of my military career. I'm excelling. I've always been ambitious, always been career driven. And he wasn't that way. And so my thing was, I don't want to be back down here when I'm trying to go up here. I'm trying to go this way and you're trying to go that way. And that just wasn't working. And
so
then
was it pulling you? Was it pulling you in the opposite direction? Like when you were excelling in the armed services, was what you had at home dragging you backwards, or was it just something that you looked at and says, "I'm just not here right now"? Where were you in terms of in connection to both?
It was a little bit of both because let's be honest. As a woman, you want a man that's gonna really, yes, the man is supposed to provide and support and all that and show you love and all that.
Gotcha.
But sometimes when you're the one that's providing almost everything, it gets to you. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Men, are you paying
It
attention to
gets
what
to
she just said?
you.
When you give up that role, you give up that crown, you may not get it back.
You may not get it back. And the thing is, it was just hard then,
Yeah.
especially when you're younger. And I still was dealing with my demons, my trauma,
Mhm.
all that I hadn't healed from. And
Wow.
so I just couldn't, like, me trying to heal myself and heal you at the same time just wasn't working.
That's deep. So there was going to be no submission in that situation because there was nothing to submit to. And if I'm hearing it right, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. So basically, because he didn't establish the position of you to submit to the idea of what he was, then you just took that role and said, well, what's the reason? There's no reason for us to really be in that if I can't get you to be out in front. And the reason why I jump in there is because a lot of men don't understand is that your woman could be doing great things, making a lot of money, and she'll still acquiesce to your position if you've earned it and you stand out in front of her and she feels like, okay, cool, he got me. So I don't have a problem with making the money because when I come home, we have something strong together. But when a man acquiesces that position, well, like you just mentioned, I hear a lot of sisters in my counseling sessions be like, Keith, what? I can't be the man and the woman at the same time. And what do I need him for?
Yeah. When you lose that respect,
yeah,
that is so true for women. We need to respect our man. When you lose that respect, it's hard to get it back.
And that's scriptural right there. The Lord talks about man needing respect. That's gospel right there. But that's a great point. And the fact that you said your military career was ascending means that you still was able to put all that behind you, walk out the door, put your cap on, walk into the uniform, do all the things you were supposed to do at such a high level that you were steady growing, because you don't spend 29 years at anything and not be good, but you definitely don't spend 29 years in the armed service in this country and not be excellent. And when I think about that, and I know you and I have talked, when I think about what it requires for a woman to get to the level that you have, what was your final rank before you said, I am done? What was your final rank?
My final rank was Command Sergeant Major, and I was at the division level. So people who know in the military division level mean I was working at the general officer level. So I was a command team. My commanding officer was major general. So that's a 2-star general on his way to 3-star. And so, yeah, I was in the engineer branch. In my last job, I was the Pacific Ocean Division Corps of Engineers Sergeant Major. So like I was responsible of all of the Pacific region. And so, yeah, and then prior to that, one of the best jobs that I had in the military, which is at brigade level, was I was the garrison sergeant major of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, which is now Fort Liberty. So basically, I ran the operations for the whole installation. So that's all of Fort Bragg. So,
and I wanted you to explain that because I wanted people to understand you're not just somebody going out here and pressing some buttons or just walking around somebody's office. You had rank, you had experience, you were expected to do things at a level because if you make mistakes, people don't come home. And so to then have to figure out a way to come home and make a relationship work, well, the toxicity is going to build up because if you don't have the answers, well, then you don't have a way to try to figure out how do I make this work. And I say that because, like I said, when I read your foreword, I was blown away because I didn't know these things. And then when I look at what you wrote and I think about what I experienced getting to know you and sitting and finally talking to you, like I said, I think people who are in or just getting out of something negative, one, need to know that there's a light at the end of that tunnel, no matter how black that tunnel might be. So you get to your third marriage, right? And of course, you said you go through your ups and downs now. What made this one work when the other two didn't?
I think it's the respect that I have for my husband. I see all of the
Nice.
hard things and work that he does.
Nice.
He is a family man.
Nice.
His family, okay. So I have my family is tight, my immediate family, but my extended family, we're not as tight as we should be.
I understand.
And it's a small family. My family is not that big.
Okay.
But my husband's family is pretty big and they are tight. I mean, tight. I love the relationship that he has with his brothers and sisters, with his nieces and nephews. And I'm just blown away by that because I didn't have that. I mean, I was raised in the hood, y'all. I'm talking about in the hood, inner city hood.
What part of Philly
we just didn't roll like
What part
that.
of Philly you from?
So I'm originally from South Philly, but we moved to Germantown, Mount Airy area for most of my high school. But yeah, we ain't roll like that at all. And so I really appreciate that. I do appreciate how he enjoys life and enjoys being around people. Do he get on my nerves sometimes? Yes, just like I get on his nerves sometimes.
I'm sure.
But it is something that's mutual. So I know the love is there. I know the respect is there. And so we've been married for 18 years now, just turned 18 in July.
Congrats.
Yeah, no.
I want to show anybody, look, here's the book, guys. Check this out. Here's the book. And I'm going to ask Yolanda to actually talk about what she does now, but I just want to say to you, the book right here, this book came about because a young lady on TikTok said, Keith, I wish there was some type of book that helped people when they've gotten out of a bad relationship, because she said, I felt lost. Shout out to Jennifer J on TikTok. Yes. She actually reached out. But let me just say this. This book is only a book. What makes this book special is young ladies like this. And the fact that when I wrote it, I knew what I was trying to do. And if you're sitting here right now, if you're saying to yourself, I've gotten out of this negative relationship, but I'm still not sure what I want to do, how I want to do it, that's why this book is important. Now, you just heard from this wonderful young lady. Now, what I'm going to ask her right now is to explain what she does right now. And the reason why it's important, I want you to understand, is that you need a destination. Once you get to that destination, you need a way to stay there. And you need a way to figure out how to be the best you once you're there. There are steps that go into that holistically. There's things that can be done, people that you can connect with. And Yolanda Tate is one of those people. So again, the reason why, and I'm going to keep saying it, the reason why it was so important to have her say yes was because she is the epitome of somebody who was in something toxic, traveled through the toxicity, came out on the other side clean, and the Lord said, I got you. Now, whether you're a person, if you're not a believer, I got you. I understand. So let me speak to you guys who may not, the secular folks. If you're in a bad place and you're traveling through a bad place and you reach the place you really want to be at, and you say to yourself, how do I sustain my life here? This is still the young lady that you need to speak to, because we all need somebody. We all need some help. Shout out to Coach Glenn.
Yep.
Look, we all need some help. And our coach reminds us of that. So Yolanda, reintroduce what you do right now, and how does that help someone who is working their way out of a toxic situation and trying to find footing to be able to stay in a good place? Tell me how that connects to what you do right now.
So, like I said earlier, what I do right now is that I empower busy professionals, mainly women over the age of 40, to invest in their holistic wellness. And the reason why that's so important to me, because that was something that I struggled with and I have overcome, but I continue to work on every single day. And so, like I was saying earlier to you about me being at a place where I was wearing a facade every single day, wearing that superwoman cape. I was the go-to for everybody, but I didn't have a go-to for myself. And I was just a nervous wreck mentally and emotionally, where I was just having breakdowns, and I'm like, okay, am I going crazy? Am I having mental health issues? What's happening? And at the same time, everybody looking at me like, you fine, what's wrong with you? You got it all together, and when you that strong strong person, people don't reach out to you.
No,
They don't. They just
she
think
got
that
it.
you
She good.
okay. She
And they
good.
don't want
She
to
don't
bother you.
need anything. Yeah, and they don't want to bother you. They think you're gonna do something wrong when you really do need help.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I did wind up getting a counselor. I did wind up getting into therapy.
Amen.
This was maybe 8, 9 years ago.
Amen. I love
And
it.
one thing that I had to work on is I talk about that connection and vulnerability and community.
Mm-hmm.
Because being in the military at that time, I just felt like I was alone. I was hovering in my field. Was no other females at the same
Mm-hmm.
level as me. And it was just hard to connect as a female with other females because I
Mm-hmm.
was in a male dominated field and I was
Mm-hmm.
around males all the time. Even now, I'm gonna be honest, most of the people I deal with are mostly males, but it's I understand that. So
But
it's
you're
been a
prepared
struggle
for it.
for me. Yeah,
You're
I'm
prepared
prepared
for
for it. But it's
it.
been a struggle. But now I have more females in my life.
Of
I'm
course.
in community with females more now than I ever have been in my life.
And I've seen you in that community. And I want to just
Hmm.
add, Yolanda is one of the most giving women that you could be around. I've watched her with other members of the community that we're both in. She parlays with the other women, and there's no cattiness about her. And she was actually one of the presenters at the conference, the health and wellness piece. And her energy is infectious because it's genuine. It's not fake, and she cares. And and again, I don't know how to keep saying this to you if you're watching this, is that when she sat down to let you see inside, when you get to know her, when you see her, when you see her videos, when you're on IG, and I'm gonna give you all of that, and it's going to be in the description of this video when I post it, because I want you to be able to see what you believe is the finished product. But that's because she worked on making sure that part is what it's supposed to be while doing the work behind the scenes.
Hmm.
She just said she went to counseling 8 or 9 years ago. Again, folks that look like her and I, we tend to argue about going and speaking to a professional about things. We say, I'm not crazy, and we use all these words that we shouldn't. But when you hear someone of this standing, of this level, say, this is what I went through, and I needed to speak to a professional, there's no excuse. And I just want you to understand that. And when you go see her, and like I said, I'm going to give all her stuff is going to be in the link of this video. She gives you daily reminders of what to do. She offers a ton of information. She is the person to work with to at least develop a plan of action that's going to help get your heart, your mind, everything in place through what she does. Sometimes we got to have a target to look at and say, that's where I'm trying to go. I don't want you to be another Yolanda. What I want you to understand is, how can Yolanda help you get to where you need to be at? Because she's already done a lot of the work to get here. She knows what she's talking about. So again, what does that look like when you're doing your activities? And I know you get it in. Now, I ain't going to ask you to stand up and show off. They got to go to IG and see that. You keep yourself in tremendous shape. And I know the armed service time had a lot to do with that. How do you keep yourself motivated to do all of these things after being out and what you do for a living? How do you keep yourself motivated? And what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis that help you shed off some of that toxicity that we're talking about?
So let me say this about the military. The military don't keep you in shape. Let me
Yeah,
be
well,
honest about it.
I'm a big guy, so I
The
wasn't going to say
the
nothing
military
about
don't
the
keep you in shape. You have to be disciplined
Come on,
enough to want
come
to
on.
do it every single day.
I
And
love
one
it.
thing I tell everybody, that it has nothing to do with motivation.
Come on.
Motivation is fleeing. Motivation is something that you may have. It's that little spark that you may get, but it has nothing to do with keeping you to where you're
Come
going
on.
to stay consistent. It's all about discipline. It's all about being committed. It's all about that consistency. So
Come on.
those are the three main things, not motivation. Motivation is good. That's that hurrah, yeah, yeah. But once that hurrah is done, it ain't nothing else
Then what? Then what do
left
we
to it.
do?
Then what? It's that discipline. So that's the one thing. But one thing, my whole life, I've always been a physical person. So I was one of those people that I was always, when I thought about health and wellness, all I was thinking about was how I looked on the outside. I didn't really think about it from an inside perspective. I didn't look at it from a holistic perspective, from spiritually, emotionally, mentally. All I was worried about was physically how I look. So I was always athletic, ran track and field throughout my life. Just didn't stay with it when I should have.
Gotcha.
In the military, lift weights, bodybuild for 5 years, hard at it, early in
Nice.
my career. So
Nice.
I've always been in the gym. So physical, that's easy for me. I'm a
Okay.
gym rat. I love
Okay.
working out, all that stuff. So that's the easy part. What was hard for me was understanding how do I work holistically from a spiritual, mental, and emotional perspective. So
Gotcha.
when I started seeing a counselor and really looking into all of the trauma that I had to heal from, one of the things that I turned to was more mindfulness activities. So for me, that was meditation, that was self-reflection, that was yoga, that was journaling. So all these different things I started incorporating into my life daily. And that helped me to get in more alignment with my spirit, with my mind, and with my emotions.
Excellent.
And I would say this, okay, I was raised in the church as a Baptist when I was young, but I really didn't know. You know, when you're young, you're like, I'm
Same
just
here.
going to church because
Same here.
grandma
I know.
and mama tell
Hot
me I gotta go to
churches.
church.
There we
Yeah,
go.
you
Let's
know,
go. Let's
yeah,
go.
that's it. But as you get older, you know, I joined the military. I kind of slipped away from the church and all that was doing out there while doing them things. You know, early 90s, you was out there partying, doing
Of
your stuff,
course. The
all
music
that
was
stuff.
great then, so we gonna do it
Yes,
all anyway.
you know, I'm a hip hop head to begin with.
Come on.
So, but so I was doing my thing, but as I got older, and especially now, I mean, I'm 51 now. I say when I turned 40, I kind of like spiritually, I was just like, wait a minute, I need to really get in tune with the Holy Spirit and within. And so, you know, of course, no, I'm a child of God, you know, Jesus
Amen.
Christ is my Lord and Savior. No,
Amen.
but I really wasn't in touch with the Holy Spirit. And so me meditating was a time for me to get still because I'm always on the go. I'm high energy, just
Love it.
always moving. To sit down and be still with nothing on, just you being quiet with God, that is hard for a lot of
Yes.
people to do.
It
And
is.
so I had to practice that. And as I started to do that, I started to hear. I started to get into alignment.
Come on now.
I started to know that God is truly
I
real
love it. That's
and that
true.
the Holy Spirit is within us and the Holy Spirit moves within us.
That's true.
And so that was one of the things that helped me to overcome the toxicity, to help me to grow emotionally, to know that it's okay to be human, it's okay to be
Come on.
vulnerable,
Come on.
it's okay to let your guard down. You know, a lot of times we don't do it, especially as women, especially as Black women, because we're afraid of being hurt.
Yep.
We're afraid of, you know, people using things against us. And I have to
Come on.
tell you this, that will happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, but just because it happens, that's just that one person.
True.
That's not
True.
everybody.
That's true.
And so
True.
we got to give ourselves and give other people grace. And that was
Amen.
the other thing for me. I had to forgive myself because a
Come
lot of
on.
times I was a people pleaser. And still now I struggle with that. And I have to be like, no, Yolanda, you got to be able to say no with
No is the
love. That
magic word. I
is
teach that
the,
in counseling.
it truly is to say no. You can
Yes.
say it with love and keep on moving. And if they
Listen,
don't understand, they just don't
even
understand.
God says no or not right now, my child, and you have to accept it. You know, it's funny when and just listening to you talk, I'm always taken back to when we were at the conference. You know, you just said something about you kept the outside looking a certain way and you had to work on the inside. And I was the exact opposite. As y'all can tell, I'm a big guy. So I worked so much on the inside that I didn't work as much on the outside. Let me just say this to y'all watching, right? When two people get together, when God places two people together, I'll take you to church a little bit. When God puts two people together who need something from each other, the only thing that stands in the way is ego and pride. If you can allow yourself to say something about this young lady I need to speak to, And she allowed me to pour into her and vice versa. And like I said, the whole time at the conference, we seemed to find each other at every table. But the last day sitting next to each other, we had to work on some things and we had to share some things. And the emotional transfer was tremendous because we realized we needed each other. And let me just say that because a lot of folks don't know what that looks like in the cordial sense. Many of you have been running the street so long that you don't even know how to sit across from somebody of the opposite sex and it not be something trashy. When I left that conference, not only did I know I found a sister, what I realized, I knew I had someone that I needed to help who was also helping me. So when I reached out to Yolanda, she wrote me up a fitness plan and said, "Keep, do this." Didn't ask me for no money, nothing, just do this. And I said to her, "Here's my book, whatever you need, I got you." Let me tell you why that's important. You don't know how God is going to use you or that situation that you create with somebody else. At the time, that was November, so we didn't talk about the book. I didn't even know about the book because I hadn't met that person who said, "Keith, can you write the book?" So God knew at that conference that we would be together here to put this together, because once I started to work on the idea given to me by God for somebody else, it automatically connected me to the person I met months before. That's how, if you allow yourself to go through your pain or deal with your pain, God will send you what you need. Yolanda shared with me. I'm not going to tell you everything we talked about. But when I shared some of my story and she shared some of her story, she said, "Keith, I needed to hear that right here, right now." Now, again, for my non-religious folks, I don't care how much you think you're the center of everything. Nothing good can come to you being alone. We'd go crazy if we were stuck alone. When you start allowing other people to pour into you, to come into you, to help, not only will you find yourself growing outwardly, you'll find yourself growing inwardly. What I want to do, and Yolanda, and I'm so thankful that you took this time out, I just want to read a little bit from the foreword. And I just want, I want people to hear it. And then I want you to give your website. I want you to give everything, because I want folks to be able to contact you, get in contact with you, because you're going to change, you're changing lives, but somebody's going to see this tonight, in the morning, afternoon, whenever they see this, and they're going to want to reach out to you because they're going to say, "I'm broken. How do I do whatever?" So let me just, and real quick, it's only going to be 2 paragraphs. But here's the truth that I finally discovered. I wasn't the problem. It wasn't some inherent flaw in my character that doomed my relationships. No, the root of the issue laid within my inner brokenness, the wounds that I had never fully healed. It was this unhealed pain that unconsciously attracted toxic relationships into my life. Realizing this was a pivotal moment. It shifted my perspective and showed me I wasn't destined for doomed relationships. I wasn't worthy of love and destined to repeat the same patterns. I had the power to break free from the cycle and rewrite my story. But let me tell you, it wasn't an easy path. It required me to dig deep into the past and confront the traumas that had shaped me. I had to face the pain head on, acknowledging the wounds that had been slightly festering. Through this journey of healing, I began to see my worthiness. I realized I deserved to be in a loving relationship that nurtured and uplifted me. And that's only 2 paragraphs, guys. She wrote a lot more. But I looked at that because I wanted to be able to show you who's watching this that when she says she wrote it, she did. And she put it out there for whoever's reading it to be able to find themselves. And I'm honored that she even said yes, because let me say a few things. When she mentioned meditation, when she mentioned journaling, yoga, when she mentioned going to counseling, when she mentioned granting yourself grace, forgiveness, all of those things are in the book. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be, and listen, I'm always honest. I ain't going to reason a lie to you. We didn't prep. I didn't even tell her what we was going to talk about. I ain't write no notes. As I was listening, we were just talking. I did say, okay, we're going to be a little more professional. We're going to do what we got to do. And the reason why is because I came to talk to her tonight, and I was going to let the Holy Spirit just have his way with me. Because if you're watching this and you're going through something, Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to have Yolanda come back on mic, and I'm going to have her give all of her information on how to reach her, how to see her, how to interact with her. And I want you to do one thing for me. I want you to reach out. Is IG the best or Facebook? Which one is better for you? IG?
Normally IG, because I'm not on Facebook as much as I should be.
Gotcha.
Everybody keeps telling me I need to be on there, but I'm not.
Whichever works, because she's going to give you her information. Here's what I want you to do, and I'm going to share this out in a lot of different places. Whenever you see this, I don't care when, I want you to reach out to her IG and just say thank you. Or share something that you got from it, or ask her a question. And the reason why is I want to be able to extend this offer to anybody that sees this. You do not have to hurt alone. You do not have to be in a painful situation and think that there's no end road. I am a professional mental health clinician. If you reach out and really need help, as you see, she mentioned she went to counseling. This is what I provide. But I cannot help you if you do not allow me. You cannot heal if you do not open up and accept the help that comes with the healing. As you just heard, there's some up and downs in her marriage. She works on them and they go back and forth, but she's in the marriage. I'm happily married. I've been with my wife 23 years. We've been married 17. For it to work, you have to be honest with yourself and deal with the lows and deal with the highs. But if you do it the right way, things will work out. So what I'm going to do is I want Yolanda to explain everything, her website, every contact way that she feels comfortable, her social media sites, and make sure you write this down, but they will be in the description of this video so you can find her whenever you see this. Miss Yolanda, it's all yours.
All right. So before I go into my contact information, I'm going to say again what Keith just said about support. It's okay to seek professional help. So for all my Black and brown people out there, stop thinking that you do not need to see a counselor because it is okay to see a counselor, a therapist, to have a coach. All of those things are so important. Make sure you read the book, 12 Steps to Recovering from a Toxic Relationship. There are a lot of great gems that are in that book that have actually helped me as well. So I would tell you, make sure that you reach out and get that because it's a good resource. And the last thing that I'm going to say, again, I cannot stress enough the power of community and connection. You have to get into community. You have to have a tribe. You are not alone. Don't try to go through anything by yourself. So with all of that said, you can reach me at my website is elevatetowellness.com. You can also get me at all social media at Yolanda M. Tate 123. I am live on Instagram Monday through Wednesday at 6:30 to about 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in the morning. So I start off with some mindset inspiration with a message and a declaration to get your day going. It's normally a theme for the week. This week, my theme is all about abundance and holistic well-being and how your holistic well-being, when we talk about abundant mindset, abundance isn't about just a financial aspect. It's all about your holistic well-being.
Yes.
Because your health, relationships, connections that you do, all of that is related. Your emotional intelligence, all of that is related to abundance. And so we have to have that abundant mindset. So yeah, Monday through Wednesday, 6:30 on Instagram, Yolanda M. Tate. I am there. Check out my website. I have a blog that's out there. I gotta write a blog. I haven't wrote one in a minute, so I'm gonna write one this week now that I said it since it's the end of August. But yeah, doing some things. And in the future, I am working on actually more speaking opportunities. So yeah, 2024, that is going to be my goal, to be out there just really speaking and talking about health and wellness, the importance of it, holistic wellness, and also talking about recovering from broken relationships. So those are my things that I'm going to be talking about. And then also something that I have as well is that I have some products that I'm selling now on Etsy. I just started my first Etsy shop with some products. And so, yeah, so I'm going to be promoting those things as well. So I'm pretty busy. Yeah.
I love it.
And
I love
still
it.
got a 9-to-5 too as an IT professional.
Come on, you hear that, right? And with the still has the 9-to-5. Let me say first, Yolanda, thank you So much for taking some time with me this evening to sit down and have a conversation about the book and yourself. Like anything, the former educator in me simply says, if we can reach one person, if we can get one person who sees this, who wants to change their life and reaches out to you, then it was all worth it. Because you mentioned community, and it is so big because community helped change my direction in business. Community led me to you, and then us sitting together and getting the book together. I think that says a lot. And I also think that's the godly way of doing things. God wants us to work together. God empowers us with special gifts to be able to use those gifts. And when we connect those gifts to others, people benefit in tremendous ways. So anybody watching this, please heed what Yolanda said. Please listen to what I say. Reach out, even if you're not sure. Just say, hey, I don't even know why I reached out. I just know something moved me. Well, we're here for that too, because we can make it make sense. Sometimes what moves you is not for you to understand, but for the person that you come to make it make sense for you. That's what we do as professionals. And it's so important. So again, I want to publicly say, I don't think this book, 12 Steps to Recovering from a Toxic Relationship, would not be the solid guide that it is without you starting the book off. And I just read you a small clip. If you go and read the whole thing, and I left it exactly as she wrote it because I wanted her words to stand on their own. I went back and read it 3 times. And the reason being is there's just things I didn't know. And I literally said to my wife, if she's the perfect person for this, because she's the epitome of the book. She went through something, was going through something, came out on the other side. She is what the book emulates. It is what she spoke about. So I am honored that her words is in there. And I'm going to tell you something, stick close, because I'm pushing her to write more, because I think there's so much more in there with you already heard her background. You already heard everything about her. Stick close, ladies and gentlemen. Stick close, because sometimes we have to have, not sometimes, we have to have a target that reminds us what we're working on, why we're working. We don't have to become the target. We just got to be able to get there. Once we get there, we're there. That's what I want you to understand, is that she could be somebody who can help guide you to that by saying, I know what you're feeling. I was there. So with that said, again, I want to say thank you publicly, Yolanda. I appreciate you taking some time. And I will make sure your information is in the description of this video. I will post it on my YouTube page. I'll post it everywhere. I'm going to put it everywhere and chop it up into different pieces. I'll make sure I tag you and everything so you can be seen, because the goal here is to promote you and get you to where you want to be, as well as to publicly say thank you. So I appreciate that, and God bless. Any last things before I end this recording, because you and I are going to talk for a couple minutes afterwards. Before I end this recording, give me one thing that you would say to somebody right now who got out of a very difficult relationship but have doubts about who they are, what they could do with themselves. What would you say to that person?
I would say that you are worthy and you are deserving of love. Whatever you experience, that is just one experience in life. And take that experience as a lesson, not as a loss. Let that experience be your guide to shape you to be all that God has created and wanted you to be. And you needed to go through that for a reason, to elevate, to get to the next level.
Amen. We're going to stop right there. Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, human service counselor, author, educator. I wear a lot of hats, but it ain't about me tonight. Yolanda Tate, my friend, my sister. We're going to stop right there. God bless y'all. Hope to hear from you. Take care.